Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you must be doing fine. So in today's session we will see top asynchronous Apex questions which are generally asked in interviews, and this is the part 2 of the series. So let's get started. So we have this first question on our screen is what is batch Apex? So batch Apex in Salesforce is used to process large volume of records asynchronously while staying within kernel limits. It breaks record into small batches with each batch running under a new set of limit. It is useful for tasks like data cleaning and mass updates or archiving. And Batch Apex implement the database.batchable interface and requires three methods, that is start method, execute, and finish. So starts collects the records to process, and execute process each batch of records, and finish executes post processing tasks like sending notifications. So you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this Apex class, that is account batch example, and we are implementing this interface database.batchable, and we have this three method. First one is start method, where we are getting this account record where industry is technology. Then we have this execute method where we have our logic to update the name field to name plus dash and update it, and we are updating this. And then we have this third method, that is finish method, where we are sending the email to the admin@email.com, and the subject of the email is batch processing complete. So we can run this batch job as follows. As you can see here, that we have instantiated this Apex class, and we have used the database.execute batch and name of this batch job, and the chunk size, that is 200 by default. So let's move to the next question. So what is database dot batchable context in batch Apex? So database dot batchable context in Salesforce provide helpful tools and information to manage and track a batch job. It includes job ID, that is a unique identifier for tracking the batch job. Then we have this current job instance ID. It helps to differentiate between multiple runs of the same job. Then we have this system connection. So it allows interaction with Salesforce to check job process or handle errors. So you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this start method we are where we are getting this account record, and in this database.batchable context, that is BC, we have this get job ID. So we can get the job ID from this context by using this method get job ID on with this dot operator on BC. Uh, so that is all, I guess. And okay, so let's move to the next question. So we have this why execute method runs in number of batches to process records. So the execute method in Salesforce batch Apex processes record in small chunks, that is called batches, to efficiently handle large data set without hitting kernel limits. This prevents overloading the system and ensures that each batch gets its own set of limit, like SOQL queries and DML statement. By breaking records into batches, Salesforce can stay within limits, avoid hitting kernel limit like 150 DML operations or 100 SOQL queries per transaction, and it can boost reliability. If one batch fails, the other can still run independently, and it handles large volumes. So we can process millions of records asynchronously without timing out. Batch size range from 1 to 2000 records, and the default size is 200. So you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this batch class where we are getting this account record. So suppose we are having 2 lakh account record in our org, and in start we are getting 2 lakh record here, and in this batch execution, the chunk of 200 record will execute uh, in every loop, in every iteration. So suppose if we have 2 lakh record, then the batches which will be created will be 2 lakh divided by 200, that is 1000 batches. Okay, so let's move to the next question. So we have this, what is database dot query locator and iterable object in batch Apex. So database dot query locator, it is used to fetch records directly with a SQL query. It can return up to 50 million records, ideal when we don't need any pre-processing logic. And in iterable object, it is useful when we need to filter or manipulate record before processing. It follows normal SOQL limit, that is 50,000 records can be queried per transaction, and ideally for small data sets or when you need initial logic. So in that case, it will be helpful. So you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this example for database.query locator, where we are fetching account record here. So we can fetch up to 50 million record at once by using this database.query locator. And we have this example for iterable object. So here we are adding this filter while querying this account record, that created date should be this year, and it will return the filtered records, and the max record we can query is 50,000. So this is how this works. So let's move to the next question. So we have, can we call one batch from another in Salesforce? So the answer is yes. You can call one batch job from another using batch chaining. This allows you to run multiple batch jobs sequentially, starting the next batch only after the current one finishes. It helps for complex data processing tasks that need to run in a specific order. So, as you can see here that we have mentioned this, we can start the next batch only after the current one is finishes. So, we generally call our next batch in the finish method. As you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this first batch class, that is first batch, and we have this second batch class, and we are calling this second batch class in the finish method of first batch class. So you can see the code here, that in this finish method we have instantiated the second batch class, and we have executed this batch by using this database dot execute batch. So this is how we do job chaining in batch Apex. So let's move to the next question. How many batches can be called simultaneously? So in Salesforce, you can have up to 5 batch jobs running simultaneously. So this means 5 active or processing batch jobs at same time, and you can queue more jobs, but only 5 will run. The rest will wait in the queue. I think that queue is called flex queue. The system automatically picks up the next queued batch as soon as one finishes. So you can see the same in the example code here, that we can execute all these 5 batches at once in a single transaction, and the sixth batch will be queued, not run immediately. So let's move to the next question. So we have this, what is record locking in batch Apex? So in Salesforce, record logging prevents multiple processes from modifying the same record at the same time, avoiding data conflicts. When a record is logged, only the current transaction can be updated. Other processes must wait until the log is released. So in batch Apex, record are not logged during retrieval, but it gets logged during the update or deletion in the execute method. Once a batch is processed, records are unlocked, uh, and we have this locking scope. So it happens when records are modified, insert, update, or delete. And we have this log duration. So the log duration is until the execute method finishes for the batch. Then a locking conflict. So if another batch or processes tries to access a logged record, it waits or fail with a locking error. Then we have this custom locking. So yes, you can use for updating SQL to explicitly lock records. So you can see the same in the example code here that we are fetching this account record explicitly locking using for update. So you can see the same here that we have used this for update. So all this record will be used for update purpose only. So you can see the key points here that for update locks record until the batch finishes. If another batch tries to update the same record, it may throw a lock exception. Handle exceptions with a try-catch block to avoid failure. Let's move to the next question. So here we have, can we call another batch from start or execute method? So in Salesforce, you cannot call another batch job from the start or execute method of a batch class. So this restriction exists to prevent recursion batch classes that could cause infinite loops or system resource exhaustion. However, you can chain a batch job by starting a new batch in the finish method of your current batch class that we have already seen in previous question, that is called batch chaining. So this way one batch completes its work and only then does the next batch begins, ensuring controlled and sequential execution. And you can see the same in the example code here that we are doing the same thing here, that is called batch chaining. So let's move to the next question. So here we have, can we make callouts from batch Apex? So the answer is yes. You can make callout from batch Apex in Salesforce, but there are some key points to remember. You have to use this interface allow callout. You must implement the database.allow callout interface in your batch class and asynchronous callouts. So callouts run asynchronously, so they don't block the batch job or the user interface. Then we have callout limits, so you can make up to 100 callout per batch execution. So your batch size should align with the this limit. Example, batch size is 100 for one callout per record. So that will be helpful because in per batch execution we can do only 100 callouts. Then handling responses. So you should handle HTTP responses carefully, checking status code and managing exceptions to avoid failed record. And you can see the same in the example code here that we have this batch class which is making an HTTP callout in batch Apex. So you can see here that we have implemented this database.allow callout. We are querying this record from this custom object, and we are doing this HTTP request in this execute method, and we must be querying only 100 records, and in this for loop only max of 100 record would be coming here, and we are using this get method here to do the call out, and we are getting this responses and we are handling this accordingly. So this is how we do call out in batch apex. So let's move to the next question. So here we have, what is database.stateful and database.stateless in batch apex? So in batch apex, database.stateful and database.stateless control whether a batch job retains state information like variable values between each execution of the execute method. And database dot stateful, it retains class uh, member variable values across batches. It is useful for accumulating totals, aggregating data, or tracking processed record over multiple chunks. Increases memory uses, so use it carefully for large data volumes. And okay, we have covered this increasing memory users. Okay, then we have this database dot stateless, so does not retain state between batch execution default behavior. Yes, this is the default behavior. If you want to maintain the variables, then you have to put this database dot stateful. Otherwise, this stateless is the default behavior, and each batch is processed independently, and member variable is reset after each execute method. It is faster and more memory efficient, ideal for scenarios where no cumulative state is required. So you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this example code for database.stateful. So we have implemented this database.stateful, and we have this variable total processed equal to 0. So after each execution, this variable will be maintained. So suppose we are getting the 100 record in this scope variable at once, then 100 will be added to this. In next batch execution, 100 will added to this, and after every execution, after the whole batch execute, in this finish method, we will get this total record process throughout the batch execution. Then we have this example code for database.stateless. So here we have this batch count variable. So here we can only track this variable, the number of record in per batch in per execute method execution. So it will be reset after every batch execution. So this is how this works. So let's move to the next question. So here we have, can we make callout from batch apex? So yes, we have already covered this. We can do this. Let's move to the next question. We have already covered this also. What is the use of, or when we use system.isFuture and system.isBatch? So in Salesforce, the system class provides method to check the execution context of your code. These methods help control how your logic behaves depending on whether it is running asynchronously, like a future method, or in a batch job. So let's break them down. So we have the system.isFuture. So this method returns true if the current context is a future method, and future methods are used for asynchronous processing like handling callout or heavy data operations. It prevents recursion when calling future method. It skips certain logic that should not run in a future context. Log or debug different batch on the context. We generally use this in test classes also. When we create test class for this future method, we use this to limit the number of record using batch class of test class. And in this system dot is batch, this method returns true if the current context is a batch job. Batch job process large data set in small chunks. So sometimes you want different logic for batch versus non-batch context, and handle batch specific optimization. Example, process records in small groups. Avoid unnecessary trigger logic for batch jobs. Prevent recursive batch class that could hit kernel limits. So this is true. You can use the same Apex class to be called in your batch execution, and you can separate the logic of batch with the non-batch code by using this system.isBatch. And you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this example code for the system dot is true. So here you can see that we have used this system dot is true. So once this future method will be called, this will be executed. And for this example code for system.isBatch, you can see the same here, that when this Apex class will be called from a batch class, then this condition will execute and it will debug executing in a batch context. And otherwise, for non-batch context, it will say executing outside of batch context. So you can see what matters is more control and avoid unnecessary processing and better debugging. So this is how this works. So let's move to the next question. So we have how we track the process of batch job. So when you run a batch Apex job using database.execute batch, Salesforce returns an ID for the asynchronous job. You can use this ID to query the async Apex job object and track the status and process of your batch job. And key fields in Apex async Apex job is ID, that is unique identifier for the batch job. Then you can see the status of your batch async Apex job, that is current state of your batch job. Example, it can show queue, processing, completed, or failed status. Then we have this job item processed. So number of batches already processed can be seen in this job item processed. Then total job items. So this is total number of batches in the job. Then we have this field number of errors. So it is the count of batches that failed. So steps to track process steps to track progress. Start the batch job, call database.execute batch and store the returned ID. Query the job status. Use a SQL query on async Apex job with the returned ID. Monitor process progress. Check processed and total batches, status and errors. You can see the same in the setup. You can go to setup and search for the Apex jobs, and you can monitor the same there also. So you can see the example code also here, that we have the same thing here, that we have this batches, we have this batch class and this future method, and we can monitor this like we have discussed. So let's move to the next question. So here we have, what is the use of system.abort job in Salesforce? The system.abort job method in Salesforce is used to stop or cancel a running Apex job. This applies to batch jobs and schedule jobs. So when you start a batch or schedule job, Salesforce return a job ID. You can use this ID to call system.abort job and immediately terminate the job. The job is terminated immediately, and any unprocessed record are skipped, and the job status become aborted in the async Apex job object. You can use this to manually stop for long running or unnecessary jobs. So you can see the same in the example code here, that we have this Apex class about batch example, and we are executing the batch in this Apex class, and we have this logic for aborting the job. So we have this job ID, that is batch processed ID, and we are passing this in this system.abort job. So this is how we are aborting this job here. So let's move to the next question. So here we have, how can you schedule a batch Apex in Salesforce? So in Salesforce, you can schedule a batch job to run at a future time using the system.schedule batch method, and it is a one-time scheduling. That is system.schedule batch schedules the batch to run once at a future time. And we have this job ID which is returned here. That is, the method returns a cron trigger ID which you can use to track or cancel the job. Then we have this time delay. So you can specify the delay in minutes after which the batch should run. So you can see the same in the example code here that we have this batch class, my batch class, and we are sending the instance of this batch class in the system.schedule batch, and we have also passed the name for this example batch job, and we are scheduling the batch to run after 1 minute that you can see here. And we can also fetch the schedule job details by querying on this cron trigger object like this. So this is how this works. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe to this video. And I will be also posting the part 3 of this series. And stay tuned. I will also post some videos related to data cloud in future once I will be getting some time. So please stay with me. Bye.